try for you. 'Cause I'm gonna try for you. I'm gonna give my love to you.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Our radio.
Tumekuja kupati, DJ hebu weka traki, tukule happy, halafu tufungue sakafu, sababu inabamba, inashika, wingu la tisa inatufikisha, ukiachilia mahewa manze DJ unatubeba. Kwenye dance floor, show us your what. Unanoki, hauchoki. Kwenye dance floor, hautoki. Unahisi, hii muziki. Unahisi, nameless na mimi.
It's nameless. Eliza, in conjunction with Ogopa. Tumekuja kuhakikisha kwamba speakers zinasikika. Hey yo mister, are you a member? Hey yo sister, wacha kulenga. Can't you see that I'm talking to you? Sasa weka mikono juu.
Vile wataka
Mr. Brother, wacha kuzuba. Ukisleki hautapata.
Fungua macho, floni yako. Cheza wimbo kama ni wako. Cheza wimbo kama ni wako, sababu huu wimbo ni wako.
Iza, hatucheki na watu.
Nameless, hatucheki na watu.
Ma MC, hatucheki na watu.
Ogopa, hatucheki na watu. Unahisi hizi flow za Afrika. Unahisi kama unakatika. Can you feel this funk till the rear? Can you feel this up in here? Boom boom ba, boom 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 ba, boom boom ba.
Ukikatika na hingoma, just be cool as a cucumber.
Na tumekuja kupati, ambia wenzetu samahani, hawako nasi na tuko nao, basi wametupa mao, sababu inabamba, inashika, wingu la tisa inatufikisha, ukiachilia mahewa manze DJ unatubeba.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Our radio.
Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, viewers, listeners, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome you. I'm here to welcome you officially to the Power Morning Drive Show. My name is Wanyoike and I'm your host on this very beautiful Wednesday morning. I'm quite excited to be here. I hope you are excited as well. To get you started. You know, you can always get in touch with us on our social media handles if you want to tell us where you're listening or watching us from, kindly do that. We are at Power Radio across Facebook, Instagram, X, as well as TikTok. And you can also get this live broadcast on our YouTube channel. We are at Power Radio. If you've not yet subscribed, kindly go there, head out to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like, comment, share, watch, do all the things. It goes a long way. And we are also on our live website. We are www.power254.org/Power Radio. Now that I am at work, I need to get you to work. So let me just start off with the day's traffic updates, and I start off with let me see. Thika Road. Let me just tell you, if you can avoid that side, please do, because from KCA, that around the survey area, things are bumper to bumper, looking very busy on your end as well as you go into town. We also have Wanyoike Way. Wanyoike Way is looking a little bit busy, especially from ABC Place going down towards the mall, that area for the mall Westlands as you go into town. Absolutely chaotic this morning. We also have Ngong Road, and Ngong Road is looking not too shabby, but as you go towards where is this? From Prestige Plaza shopping mall, as you go into around the area of Coptic Hospital, there's a little bit of a snarl up, and then it clears out after that. Raila Odinga Road looking very clear, just as his bid for the AU chairmanship, which we shall be talking about later on our news roundup. We also have Langata Road. Langata Road is not looking too bad, especially as you go from Galleria. We only experience a little bit of a snarl up as you go towards Wilson Airport, that area down as you go towards Bunyala Road as well. Mombasa Road looking, we're just a little bit iffy there, especially from Capital Center as you go into the Bellevue area. Just a little bit of a snarl up, then it clears out. Jogoo Road, bumper to bumper. You guys, I'm sorry for you guys, but kidogo tu msongamano hapa na pale. You'll be sure to get to work in time, just as the traffic moves. So in case you see any accidents or incidents, do let us know. Hit us up on our social media handles, and we will be sure to get you wherever you're going. Arrive alive, as they say. For now, let's get some music, and then we come back. My guest is already in the studio, so you know we're about to get this conversation going. We get our local and international news roundup after this. So let me take a quick break. We'll be right back. This is Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Bro.
Bounce it like a ball. 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 Hold up, I need that bucket for me. Water can make it rain up on me. Joto, nama da shiro. Timbaka, taka nongeze mo. This kind of love, I give it differently. Every time you beg me, baby, please. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. This kind of love, I give it differently. Every time you beg me, baby, please. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. Bounce it like a ball. 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 Okay, danger. How I move it, give him pleasure. Pressure, make us score this game for him. Make us score this game for him. Danger, how I move it, give him pleasure. Pressure, make us score this game for him. Make us score this game for him. This kind of love, I give it differently. Every time you beg me, baby, please. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. This kind of love, I give it differently. Every time you beg me, baby, please. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. Brother is so, I make me do repeat. Bounce it like a ball. Bounce it like a ball. Bounce it like
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
All right, that is Bounce by Melina, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. My name is Wanyoike, and I am your host. And in studio is Mr. James WaNjeri. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Hey, the voice. He's in the studio. Habari yako?
Niko salama.
Uko fiti?
Yes.
You know, people are used to you being, the host, but today you are being hosted.
Well, you're talking about people.
Yeah.
Talk about me.
Yeah.
And me, I just, it feels very strange.
It feels very strange, yeah?
Yeah.
You're used to being on the other side.
I've also realized the benefit of being a guest is you can read newspapers as the host is doing all the hard work.
Oh, yes, for sure. So you take your time, jibambe, enjoy yourself. Yes, and the reason as to why we have Mr. Wakili in the building himself is that, as you all know, or you may not know, this whole week we are focusing on Katiba Week. This is Katiba Week, and it's simply 14 years since the promulgation of the Kenyan Constitution, and who better to have a conversation around constitution and constitutionalism and all those things that these learned friends usually talk about than him. So we will be talking about what that journey has been like for Kenya, and where do we supposedly, where is the Kenyan Constitution going to lead this country into our conversation? But before that, let's get into some days local news and international news perhaps. A lot has been happening in this side of the woods, in this neck of the woods. Which woods? I don't know. I should. I've just realized that we are not in the woods. But Mr. Raila Odinga, he's on his bid to become AU's chairman.
Yeah.
And yesterday at a ceremony that was very president-studded, including Mr. Salva Kiir, the South Sudan president, was also in attendance. We also had Uganda's forever president. I can say that without fear of contradiction. Mr. Yoweri Museveni was also in attendance, and also the president of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu. And so... we also had, of course, the President William Ruto was there, and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. Let me just read some of the things that these 4 key leaders had to say, or 5 leaders had to say about Raila's bid towards the AU chairmanship, if at all he gets to succeed, because he's running it among some 2 other people, which I'll be reading their names shortly. Rigathi Gachagua said that today we are going to unveil the transformation of Raila Odinga from a national leader to an African statesman. And for us in leadership, we have learnt great lessons of resilience, endurance, and perseverance. And then we also had a statement by Salva Kiir, the South Sudan president. He said that as chairman of the EAC, I strongly appeal to the region to rally behind Raila. Let us talk to our friends across the continent. He is one to lead us in that big battle for prosperity, and is the candidate who is fit for his job. We also had Yoweri Museveni's Uganda's president said, before I came to Nairobi, there was a young man from Djibouti who came to say he was their candidate. Of course, I greeted him warmly, but I told him I was coming to support Raila because he is the candidate fit for this job. And finally, Samia Suluhu, president of Tanzania, said that my government fully endorses Raila Odinga's candidacy for the chairperson of the EU Commission. He is a Pan-Africanist leader, well acquainted with the development concerns of our continent. I mean, let me just right off the bat, do you think that Mr. Raila has a chance to, scope this EU chairmanship?
Well, the AU chairmanship has been rotating regionally, and it's time for East Africa.
Yeah.
So we have 3 candidates.
Yeah.
We have Fozia Yusuf Haji Adam from Somalia.
Yeah.
Then from Djibouti, we have Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. And of course, Raila Odinga from Kenya. I think Raila Odinga, of course, has a good chance.
Yeah.
Especially with the English-speaking countries.
Yeah.
The only thing that would perhaps get in his way is if he doesn't get the support of the French-speaking countries, which is most of
Africa.
Yeah, the West Africa. And
Yeah.
I think the French-speaking countries are actually the majority of countries in Africa. So
Yeah.
I think he has a chance. Djibouti as well has made a lot of efforts to try and get support on a wide scale.
Yeah.
So I think that is his toughest competitor.
Yeah.
So anyway, we wish him well. We always we always say when you're pursuing a national interest, we are behind you. When you come back home, we'll deal with you at home. But of course, for now, we are supporting him and we are behind him. Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of conversations have been around being nervous about the death of opposition when he becomes the chair of AU. What do you make of that?
I think it's a good thing. I've always said for the longest time, the problem with Kenya is that we're always looking to be saved by someone. We're always looking for someone to rally behind,
Yes.
I think Raila exiting the political scene, because if he wins, then I don't think he'll be a candidate in 2027 because he'll still be serving his mandate at the AU.
Yeah.
It then gives us the opportunity to actually see the real opposition, which is the citizens of the Republic of Kenya.
Yeah.
So to the extent that this actually gives Kenyans an opportunity to say, wait a minute, this is our country.
Yeah.
So how do we want things to be done? I think that's fantastic. Of course, from the president's side, for him, he sees it as a way to tame the opposition. But I think the recent Gen Z protests have shown that you can buy all the politicians you want, but at the end of the day, the people then get to decide what type of country they want for themselves. Yeah.
Do you think his political, track record places him at a better chance, maybe vis-a-vis the other candidates, for instance? Because, he's a veteran in this thing.
Yes, I mean, to be fair to Raila, he is a Pan-Africanist. You also remember that Raila was in charge of infrastructure projects in Africa, the Africa Union.
Yes.
So Raila has an international profile.
Yeah.
He's been involved at that level. He's widely respected on the continent. I don't think there's a better man for that job, and especially because as a head of the AU, what he'll be doing is he'll be bringing all these leaders together. And I mean, he's the handshake man. So I think we're going to see a lot of handshakes in Africa if he gets it. Raila, to be fair to him, has always been the type of person who tries to say, let's see how we can all come together.
Yeah.
That has always been his narrative, and he's never, strayed away from that. So I think good tidings coming ahead, because also you need to realize that we have a lot of conflicts in Africa. We've had several coups this year and the past year. So Africa needs someone who can actually come and foster harmony, unity, and brotherliness. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, and to just pick up some of the things that he was able to address in his speech, one of the things he stated that would be his priorities is gender equality and equality as a whole. And he said that throughout my life, I have been an indefatigable champion of the rights of women and girls. As chairperson of the AUC, I will prioritize opportunity, dignity, and security for women and girls across the continent. And he also went on to say that we don't as Africans, need to be divided as Anglophones, Francophones, Lusophones. I want them to be Africaphones. That's what he was saying. And he said that from the hills of Kenya to the deserts of the Sahara and the Kalahari, Africans must be one in the resilience and hope for a bright future transmitted to our young people. All right. So, I mean, those are quite some good promises right there. I remain a skeptic for leaders. So until you prove that you can do something for so this is something to just check and see what is going to go on from there. But moving on, the teachers are on strike and they have defied court orders. You as a lawyer, when people defy court orders, does that get your blood curling?
Yes, although for this one, I mean, I have to say the Employment and Labor Relations Court always suspends strikes, and I've never really understood why they do that, because remember that a strike is actually provided for in the law. I don't know why they always seem to take that approach. But of course, I think even among the teachers, you have one segment that said the strike is off, another segment that says the strike is on.
Yeah.
I think the important thing here is to ensure
Yeah.
that the teachers are actually treated fairly.
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest workforce, collective workforce in the country. I was reading some of the complaints they had. For instance, did you know that the insurance that teachers receive, their family members cannot be part of it? They cannot benefit from that.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, so, and always, I think, and you probably, even when you're in primary school, probably you remember teachers going on strike. Teachers have always been going on strike.
They've always been going on strike, since when I was in primary school.
And it seems like for them, striking is the only language that the government understands.
Listens to, yes.
So, well, that's something else on William Ruto's plate.
I know. We have a lot to talk about there as well. Moving on, there's a story here about Nonini's new song. He has released a new song that is, according to him, he's immortalizing and honoring the Gen Z because of just the political, I guess, revolution that we've seen within the June-July protest as well. Yeah. He also blasted politicians in that, and I want to talk about that in light of the creative economy. I know you were at the was it a review of the creative economy bill, and like what were some of the talks from that, because of course we are seeing we are going to see more artists coming out with such songs and such expressions in the arts, talking about the things that are going on in society and also politically. I think first the Gen Z protest actually made me realize we don't have revolutionary songs in Kenya, like artists out there, if you're listening to this, we need more revolutionary songs. Look at the camera and face them.
Artists.
Yes. Tell them.
We need revolutionary songs.
Amazing.
We need songs that we can sing when you're going out for Mandamano.
Yeah.
We've played Giuliani over and over. We've played Eric Wainaina over and over. Guys, come on.
Yeah.
We actually need you to have that music. Because even realize some of the music that was being used, Anguka Nayo, to be fair, it's a good song, but it's a party song.
Yes.
But it doesn't say anything revolutionary.
Right.
Beyond, if you actually listen to the lyrics, you'll even wonder what guys were saying Anguka Nayo for.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a story for another day. So now the government, the Ministry of Trade actually, is trying to put together what they're calling the Creatives Guild. And this is to bring together all creatives. You have musicians, you have poets, you have artists.
Do media practitioners, are we covered?
Every person. It's actually, it's as wide open as possible. Even architects, because remember architects are also creatives.
Yeah.
So we reviewed on Friday, of course, Power 254 had a town hall where we had artists and people in the creative industry coming together.
Yes.
We reviewed that law together, and one of the things we discovered is that while the law seems to be well-intentioned, it has some clauses that need some serious work. So what we did as well is to get the feedback from people and get the suggestions, and then we'll be preparing a memorandum, because I believe on the 3rd of September, there'll be a hearing for public participation at the Senate.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll have an opportunity to take back some of that feedback.
All right. Amazing. Fantastic. I know you will tell us what comes out of that. Yeah. All right. Just let's put a pin on that. When we come back, we continue with now we will head out to our international news roundup. Let's see what has been happening in other parts of the world. Remember, the hashtag to use is #Power Morning Drive. And you can hit us up on our socials at Power Radio across all our social media platforms. If you have any questions today, as I had mentioned earlier, this whole entire week we are focusing on Katiba turning 14. And we are going to be asking ourselves questions about, constitutionalism and what that means. What does the 2010 promulgation of the Kenyan Constitution mean for us as a people? What would the next 14 years look like as well when it comes to upholding the constitution. So you do want to stick around for that kind of conversation, as well as we cruise throughout this entire program. Tuko hapa hadi 10 a.m. So let's get some music and then we come back and we finalize on our international news roundup. Keep it Power Radio.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio
is where you spend most of your time, baby. So many signs say yet to need perfect design, baby, yeah. Wangu ni wewe, kienda milele ntangoja. Najua kwa wengine takukosa, kubali Mwenyezi tuzeke pamoja, takupenda milele. Like I never loved in my life, so love me like you never loved in your life. Whenever we're together, oh life so nice. Kama sijakupenda then I never love you like I never loved in my life. So love me like you never loved in your life. Whenever we're together, oh life so nice. Kama sijakupenda then I never loved in my life. I thought I was fine, baby, until love came and opened my eyes, baby, yeah. Perfect design, yeah. You came to me right on time, baby, yeah. And you know you did, and you know you did. Wangu ni wewe, ukienda milele ntangoja. Najua kwa wengine ntakukosa, kubali Mwenyezi tuzeke pamoja, takupenda milele. So love me like you never loved in your life. Whenever we're together, oh life so nice. Kama sijakupenda then I never loved you like I never loved in my life. So love me like you never loved in your life. Whenever we're together, oh life so nice. Kama sijakupenda then I never loved you like I never loved in my life. So love me like you never loved in your life. Whenever we're together, oh life so nice. Kama sijakupenda then I never loved in my life.
from sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Producer Chrome. When you be able to decide, it's not your time. You're with us. When you be able to decide, it's not your time. You're with us. Unadhani bila vya tuwezi ishi. News flash, tutaishi fiti. Tutakusahau kama kamisi. Na memory tutoe kwa akili. Una behave ni kawe tuko na option. Pia sisi, hiyo ni caution. Kasi uruma singekuwa na wewe. Usipo change itabidi nitembeze. Last chance, ati last chance. Last chance tuliacha last year. Hiyo ndio ufalamista kikusikia. Usipo change, kanyanga. When niambie, able decide, it's not your time. You with us. When niambie, able decide, it's not your time. You with us. we decide kauta change sna your time yo with when niambie ebu decide sna your time unani threat utaniacha si uniache unatu threat utaacha kazi si uache unadhani tunajali ujinga ni kudhani bila wewe hatutasonga tunasonga ujinga ni kudhani bila wewe hatutaomoka tunaomoka wewe ni dam didididam you're so damn hii dunia si yako pekee you're so damn utashtuka kama unangoja nikufuate usipo change kila mtu njia yake wewe niambie ebu decide sna your time you with wewe niambie ebu decide sna your time you with we decide kauta change sna your time you with when niambie ebu decide sna your time
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Where decide that is Kenya's, if you ask me, Kenya's greatest storyteller, musician, artist, all the things. Major, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. We are now continuing with our news roundup. Let's get into our international segment now. Of course, with the Donald Trump presidency, there's always going to be news. And this time round, the Justice Department has filed a new indictment against Donald Trump over his efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The maneuver does not substantially change the criminal case against him, but protects it in the wake of a July U.S. Supreme Court decision. Ruling said that Trump and other presidents have immunity for official acts, but not unofficial ones. And I just want to ask you, especially from a law standpoint. I mean, we've seen countless times when Donald Trump has been. It's like they are thwarting his bid for presidency in the U.S. In the U.S. elections. This is not something new with him. He's obviously not new to controversy. First of all, do you think that he has a chance of scooping the presidency seat again?
Of course, of course.
Why do you say so? Yet we know that Democrats and Republicans, we have a 49-48%.
I think it's a close election, of course. I think the Republicans were pretty confident when it was Biden.
Yeah.
Because Biden had the cognitive difficulties. But the entry of Kamala Harris has, of course, thrown a spanner in the works. I think the Trump team is still trying to figure out how to go about it. They started with mocking her, her name. Then they said she's not black enough.
Yeah, she's not Indian enough.
But now it seems they are now focusing on policy issues, for instance, like the border, illegal immigration.
Yes.
So the debate is coming up on 10th of September. So I think that will be the time when...
Litmus test.
Yeah, that because Americans the debates seem to sway a lot of Americans when it comes to their voting.
Yeah.
But of course, Kamala Harris looks like she's gaining in the polls. It's tied.
Yeah.
It's a tied race.
It is.
But
Yes.
I think it's going to be clear as we move along. Of course, you have the U.S. Supreme Court, which actually ruled that Trump has immunity based on the things that he had done during his presidency. That was a very shocking decision.
Yeah.
But of course, that I think emboldens him as well. So anyway, I always say America is an experiment that should never be tried anywhere else because I don't think it will work anywhere else. That country just it performs as it is because it's the only country that can do that.
Can pull that off. If we tried that in Kenya, oh my God.
Chaos.
There's no way. And just back to the region. Campaigns have begun in Rwanda. I mean, we just saw Mr. Robert. What's his name?
Paul Kagame.
Why am I calling him Robert?
Mugabe. Mugabe is dead, man. Let the man rest.
Let the man rest.
He was the original Anguka Nayo.
He truly was. Oh my God, he truly was. Yes, he just got re-elected and probably is going to be re-elected until, I don't know, death do us part. But campaigning has begun on Monday for candidates contesting for seats in Rwanda's Senate, the upper chamber of Rwandan Parliament, ahead of elections scheduled for next month. That's all you need to know about that. And
but did Kagame win like 97% of the vote?
He did.
That is not an election.
He did win.
That's not an election.
What is it?
You can't win 97% of the vote in a democracy.
So
because
it's not a democracy.
I don't think it's possible to have 97. You know, even Kenya's constitution only had 67% backing.
Yes.
Yeah, 97%.
He scooped 97. So what is not going on there?
That's not an election. But who am I?
Yeah, who are you?
Unaona hawa sasa wanakuja Kenya. You saw Museveni talking about Babu Owino. So
yes.
just be talking here on Power Radio. Upate you're appearing in intelligence briefs. Ukishuka hapo Kigali.
Wewe kijana kuja hapa. What were you saying again? And you know this was his fourth term now? Yes, this was his fourth term. Mm-hmm. And probably the next 10 terms. You know, this, my friend likes to call African presidents the old chief syndrome of Africa, you know, where hogging power, just wanting to hold on to it, because the only person who came on power and went was, Udada, Nelson Mandela. I've never seen anything quite like it again. Why do you think African presidents like hogging on to power like that?
Well, part of the problem is that a lot of Africa has what we call the imperial presidency. But the greatest motivation for many politicians in Africa is not actually to improve the lives of the people that they are leading. It's to enrich themselves.
Right.
So imagine you become president and you discover you have unlimited access to the country's resources.
Yes.
You can get crazy money, insane money.
Yeah.
Why would you only want to stay there for 5 years? You have to ask for another 5. You can see even with Kenya's elections, we're already being told, look at 2013, yangu 10, ya huyu 10. As in, this guy's already telling you the next 20 years are taken.
Right.
That's the audacity of politicians. And it actually takes a very big sort of person to say, you know what?
Yeah,
I've done my bit and I'm out. And I think also...
Yes.
A lot of it is also down to that savior complex that we seem to have towards leaders, that you're here to save us.
Yes.
And so because of that, you then often find that the leaders we get, they are saying, if it's not me, no one else can actually do this thing.
Yeah, it's quite disheartening. But hey, that brings us to the close of our local and international news roundup, and we are going to segue right into our conversation because I can see time is really moving. And so yes, as I have been mentioning, 2010 came. What a great opportunity for Kenya to, transform its social, political and economic frameworks in what we call now Kenyans have still not gotten over the fact that they still call it the new constitution.
It's a teenager.
It's a whole teenager with 2 years in experience, man. Yeah, but anyway, yes. So the 2010 constitution now, 27th of August, which was yesterday, marked officially 14 years since the promulgation of the Constitution of Kenya. And so we are going to be looking at the pains and the gains of that constitution. And what do we need to know about where we are, the moment that we are in Kenya right now, 14 years later? Has this constitution really delivered on its promises? So Wakili is going to help us unpack those things. And my first question to you, Wakili, would be just from where you sit or from where you stand 14 years in, are you impressed by what the Kenyan Constitution has been able to achieve, if at all it has able to achieve anything?
Yes. I think this is the greatest thing that has happened to this country since independence. And I think the thing I love most about our constitution is that it placed people at the center. The constitution that we had before placed politicians at the center. This is the first time we actually see Kenyans owning their constitution. Kenyans are rallying to defend it. And that, I think, is the greatest. If you look, for instance, at the presidency, one of the roles of the president is to be a symbol of national unity.
Right.
But due to the nature of our politics, you find that the president becomes a source of a division.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Kenyans have actually embraced the constitution as the symbol of their national unity. It's something that we are all able to rally around. And whether it's in Mandera or it's in Kajiado, from Kisumu to Mombasa, from Marsabit all the way to Busia, the cry is the same. We love our constitution, defend our constitution. I think that's the greatest thing, that for once we have a constitution that places us at the center.
Yeah. And I mean, what is it the first article or the second article that talks about the sovereignty of the people?
Article 1.1.
Article 1.1, yeah. So of course you can tell the intention behind it, but even listening to a lot of conversations, because I really love engaging in conversations with people, I keep hearing the sentiment that Kenya has one of the most progressive constitutions, and I don't know what that means. What makes the Kenyan constitution progressive, even on a global scale? I mean, apart from the people-centered, people power-centric frameworks that it has provided for.
I think when we talk about the progressive nature, it's that we have a constitution that has clauses within it, or that is very forward-looking. Our constitution is very forward-looking. If you notice, for instance, if you look at Article 27, where we are now speaking about freedom from discrimination, it says including, which means that the constitution, when it was being drafted, the makers were of the view that, yes, we will not discriminate you on race, we will not discriminate you on gender, we will not discriminate you on sex, we will not discriminate you on color, dress, but we are not making an exhaustive list. Someday Kenyans might decide we will not discriminate you on this other thing, but no one should come and say, hey, it's not in the constitution, so that can't happen. So that's what we mean by progressive. But also, if you look at this is the first time, the previous constitution did not talk about socio-economic rights. Your right to clean air, your right to water, your right to housing, your right to food. So it's progressive in that sense that it actually ensures that we are very forward-looking and it expands the civic space as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay. And something else that I've like just looking even with the June July protests, I mean, a lot of experts would come on media houses and say that yes, we have a constitution, but we do not have constitutionalism. What is the difference, and how can we get ourselves to stop absconding constitutionalism?
Now, think of it this way. Imagine if you had someone in the house, their name is Njamba. Njamba is a Kikuyu word that means warrior or, fierce warrior. But they hear a noise outside and they go under the bed and tell you, hebu ndo angalie nani yako kwa mlango.
Yes.
that's how I look at it when you talk about constitutionalism, because you could have a constitution, but the constitutionalism is now the living, breathing bit. Are we actualizing it? Constitutionalism means, number one, the understanding that everyone is under the constitution, no one is above it.
Okay.
Secondly, it means that no one tries to subvert the constitution. Everyone actually promotes and defends it. So that is lacking in Kenya because unfortunately for us, while we say that sovereign power belongs to the people are allowed to donate that power to representatives, right?
Right.
To be the ones to govern on their behalf. So it means politicians are greatly involved in our governance model and structure. But because we have politicians that have still not quite come up to the level that we need them to come up to when it comes to the questions of the constitution.
Yeah.
We now find over and over again, time and again, we keep having these challenges where a politician comes, they try to subvert the constitution, they try to sidestep the constitution, and the worst bit is that it's happening everywhere. It's happening at the national level, it's happening at the county level, it's happening at the ward level. So that idea that you can be under the law and you're subject to the law, that has truly not happened. It has happened for Kenyans because Kenyans are not unruly people. You know, we all understand what the rule of law is and we are under it, but often it almost feels like the law is for the poor and the rich and powerful can just do as they please. So that's why one of the things we always advocate for is to promote a culture of constitutionalism, where we place the constitution where it should be and we're all under it, and the constitution becomes the compass, it becomes the guiding factor. Every decision that we are making is led by that constitution.
Awesome. And I mean, it was quite an embattled moment. I know that this baby called the Kenyan Constitution just didn't come without a fight. There was a lot of events that led up to that promulgation. Do you mind taking us through what happened before?
So in 1963, Kenya gets what we call the Lancaster Constitution. I think if you remember your GHC or your social studies, for those who did, I don't know if they still teach that in social studies, but
kidogo mnafanyanga nini? Mimi sijui.
you need to tell us. You need to tell us. But what would happen is that the World War comes in 1945.
Yes.
Then, of course, it was very expensive for Britain. And they realized we cannot continue to administer the colonies. Then you have Kenyans who had gone to fight in the World War. They've now come back and they've found shamba zimeenda, they're still being mistreated. So armed struggle begins. So those are some of the factors that got in. So in 1963, we have what we call the Lancaster style constitution. And it had the position of a prime minister, and the Queen was the head of state. For a period, the Queen was the head of state in Kenya. But then amendments start being made to it, and then they realize, okay, no, this is not working. We actually need our own constitution. So they now create the Kenyan Constitution. And from that point, they start making amendments. For instance, in 1969, they make Kenya a one-party state. Which means that as a one-party state, you cannot have any other political parties. But why was it being done? Because in 1969, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, who was a vice president to Kenyatta, had resigned from the vice presidency and formed the Kenya People's Union. So you can imagine that the constitution was amended to ensure that Jaramogi is locked out. It was not about promoting democracy or anything. So that constitution, both Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Toroitich arap Moi, they ensured that there were so many amendments that were made, but those amendments were for personal reasons. They were trying to get political outcomes. There's something someone is doing, you don't like it, you throw in an amendment there. Of course, there are some good amendments, for instance, like introducing Kiswahili as a language, as a national language, as a language in parliament, that you can also have bills in Kiswahili. But all along, it became a constitution that was cut down and cut down and cut down. For instance, did you know that in Kenya, the president was not the one who would appoint the electoral commission?
Oh.
That was the work of the Speaker of the National Assembly.
I did not know
they
that.
brought in an amendment to put that to the president. Then to declare a state of emergency, you had to go through parliament.
Okay.
They brought in an amendment for the president alone
Yeah.
to declare a state of emergency. And so you can imagine when you have such power concentrated in one person.
power, yes.
That's why it was Baba Moi. That's why it was Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, because you remember even the former Attorney General, the late Charles Njonjo, he said to even imagine the death of a president is treasonous because we had a constitution that had placed the president as the all in all. This guy was everything. So if he's not there, everything collapses. That was the idea.
Yes.
So, but Kenyans begin to realize that, we actually do not have the freedoms we fought for.
Yes.
We didn't get the land back.
Yeah.
The elites came and took over the land. We can't speak freely in our own country. So beginning with Jomo Kenyatta, he starts detaining people. Jomo Kenyatta, actually, the first person who was detained in this country was a poet.
Wow.
Did you know that?
No,
it was
I
a
did
poet.
not.
Because-
On our
yeah.
14 fun facts of the Constitution, fun fact number 1 is out of the way.
Yeah, because he wrote a poem, and he was basically saying, is this really what we actually fought for independence?
Yeah.
So then you have Moi come in. Moi hates intellectuals.
Yes.
So he begins a fight against knowledge.
Yes.
He bans certain publications. He bans the teaching of Marxism. I think there's a time I remember someone used to say that Moi sent the police, go to University of Nairobi and arrest that guy called Karl Marx.
Wow.
He's the one that is causing all the problems, because every time university students they'll talk about Karl Marx, and the
yes.
fact that Karl Marx was talking, they were getting a lot of their talking points from Karl Marx. So now you have the coup that comes in, which gives Moi even more power. Now you now have proper detentions without trial beginning. They make an amendment because the Constitution of Kenya had said that if you're arrested, you have to be presented to court within 24 hours.
Okay.
They make an amendment that you can be held for 14 days. That was actually the start of being held incommunicado. So you have a lot of... They first started with university students.
Okay.
Then they went to their lecturers. And then now they started coming for professionals. Anyone who was speaking out. Then Kenyans would make some publications.
Yeah.
So that they can distribute them leaflets for reading. This is why I think if you've heard of Mwakenya, that's where Mwakenya comes from.
That's where Mwakenya
Yeah,
comes
because it used to be a publication that would be shared and highlighting some of these key issues.
Right.
So as people are getting arrested and people are getting detained and people are getting tortured, we now have more and more noise being made. And part of that is we actually need democracy to come back. We cannot all be told you have to belong to one party. There was only one political party in Kenya, which means,
KANU.
if KANU says you can't be a member,
Then
you'll
you
never
can't.
run for any office.
Right.
You can never participate in your own governance.
Yes.
And so, of course, that came with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And in 1991, Section 2A of the Constitution was repealed,
Okay.
which now reintroduced multi-party democracy.
Right.
But then even with multi-party democracy, yes, we had parties now. The civic space was opening up a bit.
Yeah.
But still,
It was still very controlled.
it was still very controlled.
Yeah.
There was still, a brutal government. Kifua has always been a thing in the presidency in Kenya. So many people actually died to get us this constitution.
Wow.
Many were tortured. If you read the stories of some of the people who were taken to Nyayo torture chambers, and so much harm was done to people who dared to actually speak up. So by the time we get into 2010, there are people who fought for it, but they never got to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
We also have the great the referendum 2005.
You have the 205 referendum
Yes.
and Orange and Bananas.
Yes,
and,
orange and oh my god.
and the problem there was that
Yeah.
you'll remember Moi appoints the Constitutional Review Commission.
Yes.
Constitution of Kenya Review Commission, CKRC.
Yeah, yes.
And he brings in Professor Yash Palgai, and they begin that process, and then they have a draft in 205. The problem was when that draft is coming out, you've had Raila Odinga and a section of government walk out because they're saying Kibaki has betrayed the MOU. So that it became a political contest in 2005, and so it was voted down. And but the idea was still, we still have to get this right. We have to do it. 2007, 2008, there's a contest over the election results. We have civil unrest, and we have post-election violence. I think over 1,100 Kenyans die.
Yeah.
And so when we now have the national accord, the agreement then is we have to go back to the constitution making process. So the constitution is, we go back, the conversations are had, we look at the 205 draft, what did we like, all that. Then now in 2010, on 4th of August, we had the referendum happening.
Yes.
We had the yes team led by the president and Honorable Raila Odinga.
Yeah.
Then you had the no team led by our president now, Mr. William Ruto. And of course, the no team was saying, this thing will make abortion available on demand.
Yeah.
This thing will make homosexuality legal. This thing will, the government will take away all your land. You'll be landless. This thing will cause people to fight each other.
I remember another argument was you will need a passport to go with the Majimbo. I remember Majimbo was a buzzword during that time.
Yes, because I was saying the counties, it's Majimbo.
They didn't understand how counties were going to work. And
They knew. It was just propaganda.
Yeah, of course, it was for propaganda.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot that got us to this. Somebody was saying that it's a document of covenant between the people and its government.
Yes.
All right, so let's take a breather right now. When we come back, we talk about, one, do Kenyans even have a proper understanding of the constitution? Do they know the power that is vested in them in this constitution, and how can we make it, accessible or available to them? I remember somebody who was saying that if the Bible and other religious books have been translated into different languages, why can't we have the constitution also being translated to other languages so that we can engage people who do not necessarily understand the two national languages that are recognized in this nation? All right, so that is a conversation that you definitely want to catch. Let's take a breather. We will be right back. Right now, some music.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Hello, menipea hewa mse. We loaded lax. It's official, Billa Bowen. Tax, we step in. Show them clocks to Milan. Buddha, let me show you the plot. I say relax. God, we owe him a lot. Na kani content we downloaded a lot. Na vile na speed, they feel like I'm reloading a Glock. Shots fired, even none of them be poking. I'm blocked. Relax, no wicked mind. We done him in this. Not tense, we defined. Hatuna, whoa, we still blind. Top of the dock and top of the rim. I'm feeling alive. I say relax. Loaded lax. Now it's official, Billa Bowen. Tax, we step in. Show them clocks to Milan. Buddha, let me show you the plot. Relax, my guy. New wave, mashita bye-bye. We step in. Siko keno mangwai. And it go easy, settle my mind. Relax, woo, I say relax. Buddha, I say relax. Elevation, I'm high. Woo, focus in on the eye. I say relax. Tumsifu Mumba, yeah. My heart skips a bit, book my yeah. Selling that high than in a scoop my dre. Yeah, Dona Tambua. Sit dumba yeah. Tunawatoa moshi, we not smoking it. Back to back, no limit how I'm throwing it. His precious blood, we done sucking it. He hopping it up, I'm provoking it. I say relax, woo, hindo kendo na die. Got kwa majani kele kendo kwa chai. Elevation yendo kendo I'm high. Nime focus na Christ. Yendo na I say relax, woo, we loaded lax. Now it's official, Billa Bowen. Tax, we step in. Show them clocks to Milan. Buddha, let me show you the plot. Relax, my guy. New wave, mashida bye-bye. We step in. Siko keno mangwai. And it go easy, settle my mind. Relax, woo, I say relax. Buddha, I say relax. Elevation, I'm high. Woo, focus in on the eye. Woo, no wicked mind with an hymnist. Now we not tense, we define. Hakuna whoa, we still blind. Top of the top and the top of the rhythm, I'm feeling alive. I say relax, whoa, hey Buddha, I say relax, hey, I say relax, Buddha, and we step in. I say relax, I end the kendo na die. Got kwa my jani kaile kendo kwa chai. Elevation yendo kendo I'm high. Nime focus na mumba yendo na I. Yes, I relax, no wicked mind, relax. We not tense, we defined, and we step in. Top of the top and the top of the rhythm, I'm feeling alive. I say relax, my guy. New wave, mashida bye-bye. We step in, siko keno mangwai. And it go easy, settle my mind. Relax, woo, I say relax. Buddha, I say relax. Elevation I'm high. Woo, focus in on the eye. Relax, my guy. New wave, mashida bye-bye. We step in, siko keno mangwai. And it go easy, settle my mind. Relax, woo, I say relax. Buddha, I say relax. Elevation I'm high. Woo, focus in on the eye.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Alrighty, welcome back. This is Power Radio. That was Tony Jiwe. It's playing right here on Power Radio, and we are continuing with our discussion today. We are looking at the Katiba 14 years later. Where are we with this constitution, this document that we really dearly hold on to as Kenyans? And before we went on a break, I had prompted us that we will be talking about the level of how constitutionally empowering Kenyans, and maybe to just start asking how empowered do you think or feel that Kenyans are when it comes to their understanding of the law, or even how they engage constitutionally? Do you think it's satisfactory enough? And then we can talk about how to get that even more ramped up.
I have to say we are better than most countries. Mm-hmm. There are countries where people don't even know what the constitution says. And I always say, I think part of the reason why you find Gen Zs are very knowledgeable on the constitution is because, Gen Z means you were born in 97 and up. So from 1997, 6 years later, education became free. So it means that Gen Zs, at the very least, alisoma Form 4. So this is someone who can actually read a document and tell you what is being said. The thing that I observed during this June-July protest is that a lot of Kenyans have an idea of what the Constitution says, but there's also a hunger to learn more. There's actually a real need. People want to know exactly what is being said here. So there's been that challenge that has been thrust on us as actors in the civil society, as lawyers. How can we educate people? How can we educate people on what the law is saying? How can we educate people on, what is being done in Parliament? You'll realize one of the most brilliant things I saw is Kenyans started talking about the finance bill in their mother tongue so that it could be shared in WhatsApp groups, uko mashinani. And it was so fantastic because then you actually hear it in a language you truly understand. And you're like, So one of the requirements under the constitution that we have now is open governance, in the sense that everything the government does, it needs to be available. You can actually find it. You can know this is a project that is being carried out. This is the money that has been assigned for that. So that is actually provided for under the law and under the constitution. So that was one of the safeguards that was put in it, that regardless of who comes into government, you actually have to make this information available to people. But yes, there's a need, and shows like this, then they help in making that education possible, so that as many people as possible can learn about what the Constitution of Kenya says and what the laws of Kenya are.
Well, and when it comes to, inclusion. How inclusive do you feel this Kenyan constitution is right now?
Very inclusive. For the first time, we had a constitution. Number one, remember, we say that inclusion is actually one of the principles of governance in Kenya, and one of our values is that Kenya belongs to all of us. That is why we have no national religion.
Yeah.
And that's why our national language is only English and Kiswahili. There's no other tribes, languages that are the national language. So Kenya, if you look at the preamble, it actually speaks about our diversity. And that we take pride in our diversity as a people. So, number one, you cannot discriminate against anyone on any basis. But number two, for the first time, we had a constitution now that said, when you are making appointments to public offices, you must have what we call the 2/3 gender rule, which means no gender should make more than 2/3 of the appointments. That means that at the very least, you have, let's say we talk about women, because women have been marginalized for a long time. At the very least, if you're going to have 9 slots, at the very least, 3 of those will be women.
Yeah.
That had to be made mandatory, because making it a voluntary exercise, no one is actually going. And like President Uhuru Kenyatta, he had an unconstitutional cabinet, because for the longest time he had a cabinet that was not abiding by the 2/3 gender rule.
Yeah.
But of course, beyond women, we have youth as well who have to be represented. You have persons with disabilities, and also speaks of marginalized communities. Our constitution, while saying that you cannot discriminate against someone, our constitution also promotes positive discrimination, which is the idea that if you have groups that have been marginalized, if you have groups that have not had access to opportunities, we have to take affirmative action to actually bring them to the table and to help them, get to the level where everyone else is at. So it's a very inclusive constitution, and it ensures that every single person needs to see themselves when they look at Kenya.
Wow. And do you think, because I look at the constitution as, like Christians have the Bible, which is sort of a document that guides their morality, and it's very enshrined within their moral fabric. So when it comes to the Kenyan constitution, how much do you feel we are woven into the moral? It's woven into the moral fabric of what it means to be a Kenyan in this present time.
It is. It is actually. Let me see if we can get. Article 10, just to be able to see what the Constitution does demand.
Okay.
Because under Article 10, the Constitution says that the national values and principles of governance in this article bind all state organs, state officers, public officers, and all persons whenever any of them applies or interprets this Constitution, enacts, applies or interprets any law, or makes or implements public policy decisions. So what are these national values and principles?
Yeah.
Patriotism,
Yes.
national unity, sharing and devolution of power, the rule of law, democracy and participation of the people, human dignity, equity, social justice, inclusiveness, equality, human rights, non-discrimination and protection of the marginalized, good governance, integrity, transparency and accountability, and finally, sustainable development.
Yeah.
The Constitution actually gives us the roadmap for what a Kenyan society should look like.
Yes.
And it gives us those values. These are the values that as Kenyans we need to live by. Morality is a very subjective thing.
Yeah.
But the Constitution has now come and tell us, for instance, we have human dignity. Okay.
What
so
does that mean?
You and I have to determine what exactly does it mean to have human dignity? Because dignity goes to the way you are treated. Dignity goes to the way you are viewed. Dignity goes to identity. That we realize that there's a dignified way to treat someone and there's an undignified way to treat that person.
Yes.
So that now becomes a decision that we as a society have to make.
And when it comes to making, so then how do we ensure that Kenyans engage with the Constitution meaningfully, just beyond, civic education. I mean, shameless plug, you have your podcast where you're educating Kenyans about that as well. You can plug yourself as well. And also Sharia Dive. Yeah, but beyond that, how much more can we ensure that Kenyans are engaging with the Constitution in a more meaningful way? Yeah.
Yes, please go to podcast platforms. I think we're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcast as well. V for Verdict.
All right.
That's the podcast where we basically highlight what's happening in our Kenyan courts, how are judges making decisions, and how do those decisions affect you.
Yeah.
And of course, here on Power Radio, we have our Sharia Dive show every Monday, 5 to 6, and
Hosted
Saturday.
by yours truly.
Yeah, hosted by me.
Surprise.
Yeah, and on Saturday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Yeah.
But I think beyond civic education,
Yeah.
Kenyans now have to actually support the Constitution in what it has provided for them. Because, for instance, did you know that the county you belong to, when they're making their budgets, they carry out public participation. They make a call out and say, we're going to be having public participation at this place. You need to turn up. Now, what we want from Kenyans is participative democracy.
Participative.
Where you are actually taking part in what is happening, where you are scrutinizing. You are being told there's a project coming. Did you attend the public participation forums?
Yeah.
Have you asked about what's the update on this? The Constitution gives you the right to access information. Have you written and said, we were told about this project? Has it happened? If you look, there's this gentleman called Morara on Twitter who's been going to projects that were launched and nothing has happened. That is actually what the Constitution demands of us. That we can be people who can go to the ground and say, wait a minute, this was done. Why is it being launched again?
Yeah.
How come the guy was paid 3/4 of the contract sum and he has never done anything? Those are now the real questions. So it needs us to now rise above, and we stop this thing of someone who is going to come and do it for us. For the longest time, as I said, we have a savior complex in this country. We're always waiting for someone to come and save us.
Right.
And politicians know it. That's why a guy will come and tell you very nice stories about how you're a hustler and he's here for you and it's going to be bottoms up. But what he's not telling you is that it's going to be a real bottoms up. Utakipata. So it becomes very easy for Kenyans to be hoodwinked because we are always looking for someone to save us. But what if we actually became our own salvation? What if we decided that no, as a people, we know what we want and we're going to demand for it? We need to make life very, very difficult for elected leaders so that they know they serve the people. And everything they do needs to be in the best interest of the people. But that cannot happen if you just sit back and say, okay, Omtata will do it for us. Wanyoike atongele hiyo story kwa radio. No, nini si ataimba hiyo ngoma. No, it can't happen. It actually needs everyone. Participatory democracy means that all of us, we are on board and we are doing what needs to be done.
Awesome. How easy or how difficult is it to change a constitution? If at all, maybe we do our maybe 20 years with it and we're like, by the way, this constitution is no longer serving us.
Yes.
And are there constitutional provisions for that to change as well? And I mean, what are some of the things that might lead us into thinking about maybe dissolving a current constitution?
Yeah, this is a very good question. Amendment of the Constitution is provided for under Article 255. And it says, a proposed amendment to this Constitution shall be enacted in accordance with Article 256 or 257 and approved in accordance with Clause 2 by a referendum. So there are certain things that must go through a referendum. Number one, the supremacy of the Constitution.
Okay.
Number two, the territory of Kenya. If we decide we want to Pwani si Kenya. You remember Pwani si Kenya, for instance?
I remember Pwani si Kenya.
That needs a referendum, okay? The sovereignty of the people, national values and principles of governance, the Bill of Rights, the term of office of the president needs a referendum. So if I think you've had, 5 years is too short, let's make it 7 years, like Tanzania. that one needs a referendum.
Yes.
The independence of the judiciary and the commissions and independent offices to which Chapter 15 applies, the functions of Parliament, the objects, principles, and structure of devolved governance or the provisions of this chapter. That needs a referendum. And for a referendum to happen, at least 20% of the registered voters in each of at least half of the counties vote in the referendum.
Wow.
We have 47, right?
Yes.
So you need 20% from at least 24 counties to vote in that referendum.
Yeah.
And the amendment is supported by a simple majority.
Okay.
So just a simple majority. Now, sometimes you'll have an amendment that is not related to, that list that I had read. And so it gives two options. There is first an amendment through Parliament, and there's an amendment by the people and Parliament.
Okay.
So how can you amend through Parliament? For you to amend through Parliament, a bill has to be introduced in Parliament.
Okay.
And it has, and it can be introduced in either house.
Okay.
Either in the Parliament or in the Senate.
Yeah.
Okay. It cannot address any other matter apart from the amendments that the bill wants to cause to bring. So you realize that you've heard of what we call omnibus bills,
Yeah.
which basically it's a bill that has many amendments.
Yeah.
So this one has to be very specific. It will only deal with that one issue. Then, of course, there is a procedure for how Parliament has to go through it. The bill has to go through public participation.
Yes.
Then the bill has to be presented to the President for assent and for publication. So that's one way to actually go about it. The other one is amendment, what we call by popular initiative.
Okay.
And for amendment by popular initiative,
Yeah.
you need the signatures of at least 1 million registered voters.
Wow.
Okay. Then, how do you go about it? It can either be a general suggestion
Okay.
or it can be a formulated draft bill. If it is a general suggestion, the promoters of that popular initiative shall formulate it into a draft bill. Okay.
All right.
Then the draft bill and the supporting signatures will be submitted to the IEBC, which shall verify the signatures collected and the initiative. You remember BBI? This is what was happening for BBI.
Oh, that's what happened.
That is what was happening for BBI.
Wow.
Then, once IEBC is convinced that you've met all the requirements, that draft bill will be submitted to each county assembly for consideration. Okay?
Yes.
Within 3 months of submission. Then, if the county assembly approves the draft bill within 3 months, then the speaker shall deliver a copy of the draft bill jointly to the two speakers of the houses of parliament. Then, if the draft bill has been approved by a majority of the county assemblies, it's introduced in parliament without delay.
Okay.
Now, the bill that is produced now, here we're talking about a popular initiative, is passed if it is supported by a majority of the members of each house. So it's just a majority. Then once the bill passes, it's submitted to the president for assent. Part of the reason why it was done this way
Yes.
was to make it harder to amend, because you remember the independent constitution. Part of the challenge we had with that is that if the president has a majority in parliament, he just amends that
Wakes
thing
up and
anyway,
decides.
anyhow.
Yeah.
So this is a bit harder to amend,
Okay.
and it needs a proper process,
Rigorous,
a
yeah.
very rigorous process to be undertaken.
Yeah.
But I've seen now, I think I saw Eric Omondi is collecting signatures to try and reduce the number of counties. So let's see how that goes. But part of the reason why BBI fell is they did not actually follow the procedure in the law.
Okay.
And also, popular initiative cannot be led by politicians.
Oh, there's also that part.
Yes, because that was the problem with BBI. You remember they said that Dennis Owero and Junet, it's called Junet.
Junet Mohammed.
Junet Mohammed,
Yeah.
that they are the ones who were leading the popular initiative, and the court said no. Politicians are not the ones to lead the popular initiative. For politicians, you guys go through parliament. That's your option. But popular initiative has to come through the people.
Awesome. Ooh. Well, I did not even know that that part existed in the Kenyan constitution. I am among the Kenyans that need to be really well acquainted with the Kenyan constitution. But thank you so much for that breakdown. All right. Let's get a quick breather. When we come back, we continue our conversation. What want to get now into then where do we go from this point? 14 years have come, they've gone. Could do amazing, but where do we go from this point? A lot of conversations have also been that the Kenyan constitution is very aspirational. How true is that? Is it true that we can actually transform our governance? Is it true that we can transform our social, political, and economic institutions using the rule of law, as we have heard from Mr. Wakili himself? So you do want to stick around for that kind of conversation. So let's take a music break and we'll see you right after.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Yes. You have to flip it. 20 biashara boss. Okay. Mina biashara, close in tada. Flow so tight, ass press cantada. Young in pala, ass like Prada. Na kama wezi shikanisha basi weni fala. Basi weni fala. Mina enda pale kila kitu dola. President Moi Kibaki wanahola. Naonesha kidole pole. Tubo kubwa kama Rick Ross. Pesa zetu munafanyia what? Kazi kwa vijana, pesa kwa maboss. Wacha kuwa floss. Ati wasanii wata get ganji 2030. Nitakuwa 54 made under that. Yes, bere tamo huko ashati ya kaki. Check karatasi kareke. Yeah. Kareke. Mini STL, the bigger, the better. IMC on the mic, come tester. He be a shara, nika M-Pesa. Wesen, tarisi. Naka usend, sikuski. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara.
Biashara niko busy na mziki ndo wanigwizi. Na flongine maji utadhani gidi. In other words niko tena jaba. Junilisikia pia kukula main is swag. From the business land, Nairobi to be specific. Crew get popos, not changa illicit. River Road baby, that's where you're gonna find me. I be getting my money fast, calling people hadharani. Niko na M-Pesa cooperative, niko na equity. Pesa ni mingi nimevisha so many na publicity. Paparazzi piga mapicha then tuzione BBC. Dashika mamita busy mejipa juu nimesign na DTP. Be a shower baby, what it do Miss Stella? I'm the man with the power so I make you feel like Cinderella. And I'm making a shower so hope you got your umbrellas. Always be a shower baby Stella, go ahead and tell him.
Be a shara ne, be a shara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Be a shara ne, be a shara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara.
Nikiwa na STL, suna geography walikali. Jumupenda kuchiugamu, unaweza nipata hali. Assalamu alaikum, walaikum salam. Mi upenda M-Pesa, pesa pap na M-Shwari. Hasla ambayo pildo kama ndizi. Mi pick and peel, uyu boy sini mjuisi. Hisi, flow cheesy kama tiba. Na ziko on point ka Abdu Badida. Biashara leta pesa weka deo kwenye mkeka. Mina leta heka flow natika Professor Christoph ndo anatesa. Kila time weka pressure pima na tape mesha. Kula Ethiopia na poebesha. Anapenda Rose na yesi amba. Ni kama vindio uneza dhani ni mkamba. Biashara ndo miulamba. Pesa imenifanya mweupe squeezy ka pamba.
Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Biashara ne, biashara. Okinyo na hawe, niye dige hara. Dige hara.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Niko na visa, niko kwa simu na nasikia bashi meshika. Je, kuna madem, kuna maniga, maodine wamekuja kuchachisha. sitaki picha kubabae, sitaki vita, nashikisha na mavela mabichwa, na tukishikwa jo mabel Mona Lisa. Tutoke BND twende BNB, niko DND, usijam, I will be RB, I will be RB.
Mihadarati zishaanza kunidanganya hadi najishuku sana, zimelipu zimenichanganya napenda vitu si ufanya vile inafaa. Erupog na matin. Eyo naka. Erupog na matin. Abiro kikomando, kiritala jumi niko na mado, wenye vipindi na musonge kando, esima tu sama boso chopo, chololo, chololo. Nobody can party like we do. Omoke girumba kokwarawe blues, kinena kalingi kipani ya sim. Meditation nyaka bed ni soya design bololo, anebo che bololo. So please no, okadwa jo machendo bololo, anebo che bololo. So please no, okadwa jo machendo Mihadarati zishaanza kunidanganya hadi najishuku sana, zimelipu zimenichanganya napenda vitu si ufanya.
Mihadarati zishaanza kunidanganya hadi najishuku sana, zimelimbu Maximus
Ogna Martin,
hey, and na.
Hold on,
yeah.
Hold on.
DNB, Nico DND.
Mutoto ya Pamela.
I'll be right back. Tell him I'll be woo.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
Penzi letu limeshika, watazidi na kuteta, vile si tunapendana na hatutawayochana. Katika shida watacheka sana, baraka zetu watakemea, watazidi kungojea, watangojea. Nyakacheng sanikawona, nyakacheng nyakawa yunyithindo, nyakawati hera wa medore, hera wa medore. Jose malosa losa we alosa, Jose malosa losa. Jose malosa losa we alosa, Jose malosa losa atotieri. Berhera ema kabiro weyo heri yawa onge ng'ama ber hera ema Nyasaye gwedho chien marach bende chien maber biro kabiro weyo heri kata ka ola nyangelo anatim kinda mondo aheri kata ka ola nyangelo anatim kinda mondo aheri yawa aheri just say my words and lots away just say my words and lots
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
That is super producer Sedo himself with a toti, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. I'm your host. My name is Wanyoike, and I'm in studio, joined by Wakili James WaNjeri, and we have been unpacking the Kenyan Constitution 14 years later, what seemed like a promise of, delivering Kenya from its whatever that we needed to be delivered from. It seemed like it's a dream come true, but as we have seen, of course, with every good thing, there has to be some challenges in birthing whatever promise that it comes to want to address. And so I would love to hear from you, Mr. WaNjeri. What do you think the shortcomings of our constitution are from where we stand?
I think part of the challenge I have seen is that the constitution left a lot of room for the political class to make certain decisions, and maybe that explains why it has been hard to realize some of the aspirations. Okay, because if we have to go through parliament, let's say, to get a certain law passed, then parliament will only pass the law that serves their interest. But I mean, we've seen some challenges. For instance, corruption is still a big deal. We have the office of the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecutions,
yes,
which is meant to be an independent office. And by being an independent office, it means they should not be taking orders from anyone.
Yes.
But then you realize during, for instance, Uhuru Kenyatta's second term, the ODPP was getting a lot of instructions on the matters to file in court. I think there were a lot of people who are being the criminal process then started being used to settle political scores. Then kidogo Ruto becomes president. Then they start withdrawing. Then so you really wonder, So that I think has put a huge dent on our efforts to fight corruption. And there's been a suggestion, why not give the EACC prosecutorial powers? Because, at the moment, only the ODPP has prosecutorial powers. Maybe if the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission could also prosecute,
yes,
maybe then we'd see more success with some of these, corruption cases. But then the other thing as well is overrepresentation. I think we are overrepresented as Kenyans. We have too many members of parliament.
Yeah.
And
That's 349.
there are very many. You add in nominated, and oh my God, there are too many.
Yeah.
For such a small country, you're a small country.
50 million. Yeah.
Yes, but that I think is something that needs to be properly dealt with, because what has then happened is the same representation we have here at the national level, it also now goes to the county. I think I remember seeing a governor had 10 advisors. I'm like, governor, you have 10 advisors, and then you get in your executive committee. So you just find there are all these ways that, money can be lost.
Yeah.
I think in terms of the burden, that's maybe one of the things that we need to address. How can we have smaller, leaner government? Every government that comes in wants to be as big as possible. It wants to go big.
Yeah.
So those I think those are some of the challenges I see. But the benefit I think we have as well is you have a situation where we have a very robust judiciary. So if anything needs to be clarified, if anything needs to be interpreted, if anything needs to be explained, then that is an avenue that has been created for it. So I think there's that balance. But yes, I think everyone you talk to will tell you, maybe this could be changed, maybe this could be made better. But one of the things I always wonder is when it comes to women, you've put the 2/3 women and men. You've put the 2/3 gender rule, but there's no rule about youth. There's no rule about the PWDs.
Yeah.
So why can't we actually have an amendment that ensures that they are part of the representation? They are part of the appointments that are being made. So yes, so you'll find the aspiration is there, but why didn't the constitution just go a step further and say this is actually what needs to happen? Those are some of the ones I can think of. I don't know if you have any. Nasema hiyo toa hiyo nini.
Toa ni kila kitu. No, I would not. I'm not the best person to talk about this. Yeah, but so we've looked at the first 14 years. What do you think the next 14 years portend for Kenya in terms of, constitutionally? Or rather, what would your hopes be?
My hope would be that the next 14 years are going to be even better. As I said earlier, of course, we have Kenyans who are more knowledgeable. I really pray, because you see, human beings are at the center of this. I wish we can make our decisions better, especially politically. Because one of the things I believe is that if we actually get people who have the constitution at heart and who are not trying to get into parliament or into the counties to enrich themselves, we actually have the blueprint for great economic success as a country. We have the blueprint for eradicating poverty. We have the blueprint for, making access to basic services easy.
Yeah.
But it needs people who are actually ready to take that step and are ready to, wholeheartedly promote, defend, and support the Constitution of Kenya. So those are the things that we have to do. But the beauty of it as well is to realize that the people are the center of it, and the people actually get to decide what do we want and how can we get what we want.
And so how, because when you were talking earlier, you said that there's always an interplay between decentralizing political power and centralizing people power. And I don't know what would the cheat code for that be within constitutional frameworks. Yeah.
I think Kenya's challenges are that, for instance, let me ask you today, if you wanted to hold baraza, where would you hold it?
That's an interesting question. I I would hold it in a place that it stands at the center of people from maybe suburbia, suburbites.
Okay, let's say
People-
where you live. Which area do you live?
I live in Luakabete.
So where in Luakabete
Yeah.
can you go today and just hold a baraza?
Oh, so you meant like in terms of like, do we have a social hall, for instance?
Do you?
Yeah, we do have a social hall.
Okay, in
Yes.
Luakabete.
Yeah.
How many social halls do you have?
Only one.
Only one, maybe in the
that I know
in
of.
the entire
In
constituency.
the entire constituency, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
That is not the story for many people.
Mm.
Today,
Yes.
when Kenyans gather together,
Mm-hmm.
they either do it in school,
Mm.
where they are learning.
Yeah.
They either do it in church,
Mm-hmm.
where they've gone to be preached to and to sing, or they go to the mosques,
Yes.
or they go to a stadium where there's something else happening.
Right.
The purpose is not the meeting.
Yeah.
Today, Uhuru Park has been closed off for meetings. So what is being done then is to say there seems to be a fear of Kenyans gathering together, and systematically what happens is
Yes.
all the avenues that existed for people to just hang out and talk, they have been taken away. Social halls have been grabbed.
Yes.
People grab the social hall when I know up apartment. Places like Uhuru Park closed.
Public spaces.
You have the green spaces, you have to pay to access them. So if
Yeah.
you don't have the money, stay out.
Yes.
I think Arboretum started with 40 bob. I think the last time I was there, I paid almost 150 shillings.
Yeah. Karura
Not
the
everyone
same.
has that money.
Yeah.
That is actually part of the real challenge. That when it comes to Kenyans, we have no places we can all gather together
Yeah.
and just have a conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's like the way Dr. Wanjeri says, it seems to strike fear in the heart of the Kenyan elite that Kenyans can come together. So maybe that's one of the things we need to change, that we need to reclaim those spaces so that we just have a place you can go and hang out and talk. Talk and go home. Talk and agree this is what needs to happen.
Yeah.
But thank God for the internet, because
That's-
now
our barazas have become digital.
you realize like the spaces actually made the finance bill protest to be very, very successful.
Yeah.
Because people now had an opportunity, as scattered as we are all over the world, to actually be in one place where we could have a conversation.
Including the president having a next space.
Even
with
he
the
came into
people.
even he came into that.
Yeah.
So that is one of the ways to go about it. But the second way to actually do it is the question of accountability. How do we begin to hold leaders accountable? Bursaries have been given. Who received the bursaries? Who went to school?
Yeah.
Do we? Let's talk about Nairobi County is said to have lost 1.3 billion shillings in fake salaries, ghost workers. We always talk
Cannot
about
be
ghost workers in
accounted
this
for.
country.
Yeah.
Ministry of Education was making, I think I saw in the media, there was a story that had been done, an expose, that there's some schools in Baringo, which are also polling centers, but the schools don't exist. There's just a post, there's just a banner and a gate, but the school doesn't exist, which means there's someone who gets that money. There's
Wow.
someone who is a principal who gets that money.
Yes.
They also get a salary. All right, but the school does not actually
Non-existent
exist.
school.
So we have a lot of that. Those porous. We have those porous paths that have been created where resources can just, quickly disappear. That's how to do it. I think the next step now for us is the step for accountability. And I think the greatest thing that can ever happen is we need to disincentivize public service. If you're going to be a member of parliament, I was watching. There's a guy on TikTok who is a member of parliament in the European Union. And I looked at that and I thought, this is actually how MPs should live. They are not living extravagantly because you're getting into it to serve the people.
Yeah.
So why is an MP in Kenya earning almost 1 million shillings? Why?
Yeah.
Let's cut those salaries. Let's reduce that and affordable housing tunasema wacha wapewe hizo apartment washike hizo apartment because part of the problem we have is you do not live with the people you serve and therefore you can never be trusted to advocate for them.
Yeah, because you'll be detached.
Exactly. So part of that disincentivization is to reduce how much money we're actually using to to prop up those who are in power. Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. I can see we are very short of time. We're actually out of time. Maybe your clarion call or your parting shot as we close this conversation. What would you want Kenyans to leave this conversation with?
In the words of Masita Rus, Kenya ni home.
Ati Kenya ni home.
Kenya ni home.
Okay.
This is the only place we have.
Yeah.
Let's make it work. Kenya can actually work for everyone. And I think what the Gen Z protest showed us is that we all want a Kenya that works. Because I know if I have money, I can't walk in Tao freely.
Yeah.
Junitanyongo na mseana do.
That's true.
But if we all had the money, maybe I wouldn't have to walk, it's such fears. But if I'm living a good life here and there's someone else having a bad life somewhere else, that affects me as a person.
That's right.
And it denies me the joy of enjoying my existence because I know someone else is actually not enjoying the same quality of life. So let us continue to push for a better Kenya for all.
Yeah.
Let us continue to push for a country that works for everyone. And let us continue to uphold the Constitution and to demand for accountability from those in power.
Wow. Well said. I have nothing more to add to that. Thank you so much, Mr. James Wanjeri, for giving us the privilege of your time today on the Power Morning Drive Show. Nimejifunza mengi sana. Asante sana kwa come through.
Thank you.
Now, as you've heard, please catch him on V Verdict.
V for Verdict.
V for Verdict.
On podcast.
Where you get your podcast. Ama uko Spotify, Apple, YouTube's, muko kote. And also Sharia Dive. That
Sharia
comes
Dive.
to you every Monday, 4 to 6. And
Monday 5 to 6.
5 to
and
6.
Saturday 1 to 3 p.m.
1 to 3 p.m. Yes, umesikia from the horse's mouth himself. Haya basi mimi sina la ziada. For another shameless plug, this Friday, we shall be in conjunction with Uraya Trust and some amazing partners. We will be live on location at the National Museums at the Mary Leakey Auditorium for Katiba Day celebrations. And so you come through and we have conversations around Katiba. How can we make our constitution work for us as well? And, we shall be exploring some of the conversations that we have had today and much, much more. So, this coming Friday, that is the 30th. Yes, that is the 30th of August. We shall be there from 9 a.m. till, I guess, around 5 p.m. So you come and let's engage with conversations around Constitution. But from me and the entire team that has made this broadcast possible, we just want to say thank you so much for engaging us and for listening to us. Until we see you next time, I just want to say thank you and goodbye. You are, of course, in safe hands from 11 a.m. The Shiva Sessions show will be up with Caroline Murote, so you do want to stick around for that. Then later, join the dynamic duo of Elijah Moores and DJ CJ with Gift of Gab as they give you the top 10 playlist as well as some hip-hop news as well. For me, myself, Anne Wanyoike is out. Goodbye.
From sunrise to sunset, all day and night. Power Radio.
All them girls, wanna big up yourself in a dancing party. This one is original MC Mighty King Kong. Wanna big up. Them love him, them love him, them love him. For real. Them call him, let his choice, them love him. And them sugar, them love him, them love him, them love him. She's on the regal, I'm saying. Them call him, let his choice, them love him. Lord of mercy. They look so nice, they look nice on and on. Again. When they walk, it feels so good. I'm in love all them girls in the world. And when they smile, he's in the mood. She's on the repeating. Cause they are the ladies who really work. One more time. Cause they are the ladies who really work. She's a little girl and when a baby jump around town. Cause I really tell them my baby give a love. And a baby come around town and give me little love. Regional King Kong gonna run things. All of them are pretty girls, give me some love. Cause I really tell them baby jump around town. And this a reggae time and a baby come again. Give me little love and baby jump around. Cause I really tell them my baby come around town. Original King Kong give me some love.
call me what is my name? K-I-N-G, original king. When I K-O-N-G, original Kong. All of them are girls when I'm making the feel. And at this reggae time when I baby shake your bums. Cause I really tell them, baby, come again. Them love him, them love him, them love him. Selassie. Them call him ladies' choice, them love him. And them girls. Them love him, them love him, them love him. Them cool. Them call him ladies' choice, them love him. Them a booty in the one. They look so nice, they look nice on the lawn. A little bit dance. When they walk, it feels so good. Reggae time. And when they smile, he's in the mood. I am always in the mood. Cause they are the ladies who really want. The ladies' choice. Oh yes, cause they are the ladies who really want. Them a booty on the one. China girls come around, China give me some love. Regional King Kong gonna run things. Cause I really tell them, my baby give me love. When a one time, when a two time, when a three time. No more, no two, no three, no one, no biggie, let me say. When a girl come around, when I give me some love. Cause I really don't tryna baby give me love. Cause I really tell them, mama come again. It's a dancing time, not dancing party. Cause I really show them, my baby give me party. This a reggae time, man, a baby shake your bumps. Cause I really tell them, original king gonna run to the one. Cause I really tell them, baby give me love. This original gonna make them feel. Reggae time coming, making the fire. Girl, sing along. Them love him, them love him, them love him. Kenyan girls, them call him ladies' choice, them love him. Ugandan girls, them love him, them love him, them love him. Tanzanian girls, them call him ladies' choice, them love him. Surrey Georgie, them love him, them love him, them love him. Papa Benton, them call him ladies' choice, them love him. Mighty King Kong, them love him, them love him, them love him. And them got sugar, them call him ladies' choice, them love him. She's on the rewind, them love him, them love him, them love him. I'ma give them love, them call him ladies' choice, them love him. Woman, them love him, them love him, them love him. For real, them call him ladies' choice, them love him.
Pawa Radio. Tune in and